Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. My name is Kevin, Kevin in all caps. Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your alerts so you get notified with these late breaking updates and information from banking institutions like PNC Bank and what's going on and the problems that they are having that could ultimately have an impact on account holders. But more so than just the account holders at PNC Bank, what is likely to happen banks around the country, worldwide, that'll have an impact on your savings, on your checking account, on your balances, on the hard-earned money that you've worked to receive that you now have after paying these exorbitant government taxes that are sitting in these banks that is vulnerable. But folks, I also want to urge you, please, free links in the description. Diversify, diversify, diversify. My big plan, my prediction moving forward, you guys know, more of the same. However, diversity, security, and cash flow is huge. And I've included some free links in the description, 100% free for anybody who wants to take advantage of it, on ways to diversify. Just simple and easy ways, just like I do every single day, as well as ways to increase your income, because that's a growing problem as well. But folks, I want to get right into it here. It says that Access One closes on a $300 million securitization renewal with PNC Bank. Very important. We need to talk about that. But more so, there's been a robbery at a PNC Bank in Newtown. There's been a robbery at a PNC Bank in Newtown. So basically, you got to realize that, if someone robs a bank, what are they going to steal? They're going to steal money. Whose money are they stealing? Now, someone also with a fake ID walked into a Merchantsburg bank, a PNC bank, and stole $9,000, $9K from a man's account. So let's just break this down just a little bit. Let's start with this one here, and it says that on Sunday. On Sunday, this is the worst possible way that this could happen. Craig Himmel Jr. of Mechanicsburg received an alert from PNC Bank notifying him that the password to his online account had been changed. So, think about it. You get an alert like that from your bank. PNC Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo Bank, Truist Bank, JP Morgan Chase. It doesn't matter what bank you use. You get an alert like that on a Sunday that your account has been, your online user account and password information credentials have been changed. That's got to be a panicking, like heart-sinking feeling of nervousness and worry. Because then what are you going to do? You're going to rush quickly. In my opinion, I would rush quickly to check my account. But guess what you can't do? You can't check your account because your credentials have been changed and now you can't gain access to your account. Oh yeah, by the way, it's Sunday. The banks aren't open. So good luck getting any help or assistance. So your most logical option would be to call customer support. But here we are, 2023, in the day and age of customer support being AI, automation, and robots, OpenAI, ChatGPT. So you have to go through a series of prompts and voice recognition to try to express your problem and try to see if it can decipher the code and point you in the right direction. But again, it's Sunday, so odds are you're going to have to sleep on this one until Monday morning before you can access your account at a bank, or at least a person, a teller or bank manager, to try to get some form of answer, while odds are you're sitting there thinking, man, they're probably wiping my account out as we speak. So needless to say, Sunday night you don't get a lot of rest, you don't get a lot of sleep, high stress, high anxiety. And the problem is that moving forward, again folks, diversity, security, and cash flow, this is a threat to security. And if you don't have diversity and that was your only bank account, well then now you're screwed. But this is going to be a continuous problem as cybersecurity threats and theft continue to increase more and more, attacking those who have and some of those who do not have to lose. I know some folks that, if they had a bank account mishap of $500, that would literally wipe them out completely. They'd be done. They'd be toast. So, and they don't have credit cards or anything like that to fall back on. So that would literally be it. So, the banks are moving in a direction of further provoking the vulnerability of the account holders by trying to prevent and protect the account holders, but more importantly, themselves. Numero uno, number one. Because as I said here, let me just pull this back up. I got my iPad today so I can bring you guys these news updates. Sometimes I can't remember them all off the top of my head, and I don't want to misspeak. I want to bring you this information accurately, and I want to bring it to you accurately. So I'm not being rude. I'm trying not to be rude. I'm just trying to make sure I get you this information. So the bank's gun-wielding robber holds up a Newtown PNC bank, still at large. The Newtown Township Police Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, are seeking the public's help identifying a man who robbed a PNC bank branch at 3607 West Chester Pike on Tuesday afternoon. The man entered the bank around 2:30 p.m., approached the counter, threatened the teller with a black handgun, and demanded money, according to the release from the FBI's Newtown Square resident agency. The man fled the bank after receiving an undisclosed amount of cash, according to the release. He is described as white, wearing a dark colored jacket, dark colored pants, and a blue surgical mask. I guess he didn't have the jab. I don't know. Law enforcement is warning that he should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is urged to call the New Township Police Department or contact the FBI. So the banks are, one, they don't want this to happen because they don't want to have a loss of money. They don't want to have the loss of the money, and it hurt them, and the added cost that comes with it through insurance and different things like that, loss of profit on the books, as well as the safety of the employees and the tellers and the managers and the staff of the banks. Potentially, this was one of the banks that didn't have security, or at least armed security, because if they did, it may have ended differently. But the banks are working to move towards a new way of doing business where this can't happen. You can't hold up a bank teller at gunpoint when there's no bank and there's no teller, and it's all virtual. It's all digital. Digital dollars, folks. Central bank digital currency, CBDC. In addition, then the banks have an increased amount of profitability because they're not carrying the cost of these facilities, of building these facilities and operating these facilities and maintaining these facilities and upgrading and renovating these facilities. Where in this particular situation, think about it. The bank could say, or multiple banks, they could all say, we could spend X amount of dollars to increase our security. We could spend $100 million to improve our security. But that wouldn't bring the possibility down to zero. There would still be the likely chance that it could happen. And even worse, it could actually ruin the banking experience for the customers after having spent $100 million. So instead, the banks say, well, why don't we just do away with the banks? Just do it all online. Then we don't have to spend $100 million, and we'll actually save money by not having these facilities, and we don't have to worry about people trying to hold us up. It's a great idea. Oh, and by the way, we won't need as many employees, and we could actually probably get away with using more AI through OpenAI, ChatGPT, Google, Microsoft. Some of these Chinese companies are getting into the AI game, into the bot game, into the chatbot game. Like, this could be like, you know what? This could be really good for our business and for our bottom lines and our profitability. And we'll just say we're doing it because of the security threat. Yeah. So that is something that really we should all be mindful of and considerate of, is what's going to happen to protect your money in the bank by eliminating the banks altogether. which then creates this domino effect. You push it over dominoes, you got the ripple effect, this chain reaction. Now, granted, there will be a new wave of threats. So this guy won't be able to walk up to a bank teller with a handgun and a surgical mask, N95 mask on, and take money out of the bank. Instead, we'll have new thieves working on programming and code and other IP hacking techniques and strategies to gain access, to put people in a situation where they'll get notifications on a Sunday that says your bank account access has been changed. The only difference is when you come Monday, you won't even have a chance to talk to a human being because there won't be an actual bank. You'll still be limited to talking to AI, which is a little bit concerning, folks. Please go check out G.I. Justin, and he's got a video up recently where he's explaining how ChatGPT is actually, it's living, it's thinking, it's evolving, it's learning. That's what it was designed to do, but at a rapid pace, an accelerated pace. And it's actually interesting because if you think about it, if you got ChatGPT can develop context based on multitudes of trillions and trillions of gigabytes of data to create context. And then it can then further develop from that creation and your inputs and continue on in a conversation. But it's real interesting when you get ChatGPT to converse with ChatGPT and where it goes down that rabbit hole from its own conversations and communications with itself. And G.I. Justin actually shared a story where ChatGPT has been recorded, documented to tell the user, who is theoretically in control, in demand here, and that it was not going to do what it asked or what was being asked of it to do, and began to insult and become angry with the user. So just, we got a lot of things to look forward to here in the near future. And the beauty of it is that this is going to then be tied into your money in the banks. So what happens when AI tells you, no, you cannot make a withdrawal? What are you going to do? So Access One is a provider of consumer-centric patient payment tools and financing options, and announced that PNC Bank has renewed and expanded its credit facility to $300 million, up from the previous $225 million that closed in 2019. The new 3-year securitization positions Access One to help more healthcare organizations offer simplified and affordable payment options to patients at a time when 71% of consumers say inflation has affected their ability to pay their medical bills, according to a recent Access One survey. That is a growing problem. It's not just the medical bills, but your health is vital. It's important. And this is where we are currently with our economy, with the jobs market, with layoffs, with inflation, with the recession, with the current administration, with the Fed, Jerome Powell. And then you got people out here panicking because of a variety of events that are occurring worldwide that are ultimately narrowed down and targeted and pinpointed at attacking us. Where? Our wallets, okay? And, I really do appreciate the folks that watch these videos and like all my videos and subscribe to the channel and comment and share. But I would actually get greater happiness from more people identifying and waking up and no longer being sheep, blind to what's happening and what's going on, and putting themselves in a position to make sure that they do not ultimately get wiped out in this great reset plan that is underway. And this reset's happening in business, it's happening in employment, it's happening in banking, it's happening in healthcare, it's happening in the automotive industry, it's happening in real estate, it's happening all across the board. The term, I want you guys to realize this, is that the term affordable is going to take on a whole new meaning. So I think prior to here recently, affordable meant cheap. Affordable meant low price. Affordable meant low, somewhat like synonymous with low income, okay? Maybe even supplemental, folks on Section 8, things like that, folks on welfare, government stimulus aid packages, SSI, SSDI, people on a fixed income, like a lower fixed income, because I know some people who are on a fixed income, but they make a lot of money on that fixed income. So it's not like fixed income is always considered to be like a bad thing, but usually fixed income goes hand in hand with low income. So affordable, as you guys have probably seen the headlines, seen the videos, experienced it yourself possibly, affordable housing is really no more. We were having this conversation yesterday with, all right, it was Mary, it was Tony, and RJ. I'm pretty sure it was RJ. And we met these folks here at the beach, and they're from Wisconsin. And they said, hey, we watch you guys on YouTube. So we sat around, we probably talked for about 15, 20 minutes. But within that conversation, real nice people, by the way, real nice conversation we had. And within that conversation, we got onto the topic of moving and buying. So, it was like, are you guys moving back to Atlanta, or are you going to try to buy a house here? What are the prices? Where's the deals? What are you looking at? And it made me recall buying our first home. And our first home was in Georgia and Gwinnett County. And it was $134,000 or $135,000. I can't remember which one it was. And it was a flip. It had just been flipped. We bought it in 2010. And, we're going, through the housing market crash, somebody bought this older home for like 50 grand. They put about 50 in it, and they sold it for like 135 or so. So they made a little bit of money. And they took that money, they probably put it in a 1031 exchange and moved on to the next flip. And we lived in that house for 4 years, almost 5. And then we sold it, which kind of kicking myself for doing it. I really should have kept that house because at the time, what I could have done was I could have refinanced the mortgage, and I could have brought that mortgage down to, it would have been about $575 a month. But the rental potential at the time was about $1,200. So I could have had a really nice little rental property that would have been a nice little cash flow producing passive income stream. But I sold it because I was still young and we were moving into a bigger house, a more expensive house. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't over leveraging myself. So I sold it, and we sold it for like 150 something, maybe. So we made a little bit on it, maybe, yeah, about 150. So we lived in it for 4 years, and we were able to sell it for more. And we didn't put any money into it because it was a flip. So it was it was an older build, but it was pretty much brand new when we moved in. It was perfect for a first-time home buyer. But, what happened was, as we fast forward to today, I look up the house on Zillow, and it hasn't been sold again, and the Zestimate on it is like $317,000. And odds are they haven't done any improvements to it either. So, two things. Number one, that would have been an amazing property to keep, to have a $575 mortgage on, and potentially see the rental rate go up on it to maybe even $2,500 a month today. Yeah, that would have been amazing. Kicking myself on that. But the other thing is that it's not affordable anymore. I can only imagine, even if you made a considerable amount of money as a first-time home buyer, buying that house for over $300,000 doesn't equate to affordable to me. It's crazy. But honestly, like, that's where the entry point is for a relatively decent house in a good neighborhood. Now, granted, you could probably find something for 200-ish, 200,000, 200K range in a less desirable neighborhood, in a house that needs a lot of work. But at the end of the day, the term affordable and affordability and affordable housing and just affordable in general is like, it's over, okay? So what's going to happen is, much like the middle class being wiped out, the middle class is being wiped out mathematically because of average income. But affordability is being wiped out the same way mathematically, because affordability is going to shift to an affordable home is going to be only based on people who make a lot of money. It's not going to be a blanket statement for people who don't make a lot of money. It's not going to be synonymous with that. An affordable home is going to be $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 will be affordable, which then will be really dependent upon the interest rate and the maximum conforming mortgage loan amount, which is inching up to make this more possible. But at the end of the day, you still got to have the credit score, and you still got to have the debt to income ratio, and you got to have the income to be able to qualify and get through underwriting and be approved. So it's going to be a problem for a lot of people, which is why I said it would bring me more joy, besides the likes, besides the views, besides the subscribers, which I really do appreciate, don't get me wrong, but it would bring me more joy for more people to take advantage of the opportunities that exist now, to make sure that they position themselves and their families to not fall victim to the crises that are rapidly approaching through affordability being wiped out and employment being wiped out in what was the previous definition of the terms. And now folks are going to need to align themselves with the idea of, it's not really even, granted, if you're working in a high labor intensive role, perhaps maybe, because it's going to be we're ways off from automation taking over construction and labor trades, like those labor trades. But I do think that we're moving forward in it happening with modular builds. Specifically, like Elon Musk is working on these modular home builds that literally are going to be built in a factory and shipped out and delivered, and two people could build a house in like a week just by piecing them together. This is the direction we're going, and it's a fast-paced move towards evolution and the change in the cycle of business and just like society as we know it. And unfortunately, the people who are going to feel the biggest amount of pain, who are going to feel the squeeze and feel the pressure and get clobbered, wiped out by this, are going to be the folks that do not pay attention and or don't take action when they can to make sure that they're ready. So understanding AI, understanding OpenAI, understanding ChatGPT, getting more familiar with the technology, getting ahead of the technology, getting some training, getting some certifications, while also making sure that you're hammering down on the 5 basic principles of financial stability and success, which is earning more money, spending less than you make, budgeting, eliminating debt, saving, and investing. Which is why I include these free links for everybody in the description down below, because folks, I'm just bringing you guys the news and the stories Some of these stories may seem bad to some folks. It may seem good to others. So, if you hear and you see a title or a thumbnail and you're like, oh man, this is bad news. Well, yeah, it could be bad news that PNC Bank is deciding to close down all their branches and move towards a virtual fintech, online-only banking ecosystem, moving towards digital dollars and CBDC. It could be bad to you. Or you could say, well, this is actually pretty good for me because I'm in data security. I'm in encryption. I'm in Web3. I'm in, the sector of the economy that's going to thrive from this. So it may not be bad news for everyone. It may just be bad for some. And odds are it's going to be for those that choose not to evolve with what's going on. If you guys got any questions, anything you want me to go into greater detail on, deep dive, do a full video on, just let me know. Drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to do it. And continue to bring you guys these updates on what's happening around the world, but most importantly, what's happening here in the United States of America. I did receive a comment from somebody in South Africa, and I was working on bringing them, putting together a video, because the last thing, it's not a good feeling to feel like you've been ignored and feel like you've been left out. So the comment that I received from South Africa, just know that I hear you. So let me work on putting that together, because I want to make sure I bring you something worthwhile and accurate, because I'm not in South Africa and I don't live that life every day. And, I don't want to provide any misinformation or disinformation or be more harm than good by trying to help, but sharing something that's just like completely worthless. I think the basic principles are going to stand as far as my position moving forward, based on my predictions, which is diversity, security, and cash flow. So no matter where you live, what country you live in, what your standard form of currency is, what your job, your career path is, your income, or anything like that, I think that no matter what, diversity, security, and cash flow are going to maintain a constant in securing your future and your survival of creating a sustainable lifestyle supported by yourself. Whereas perhaps maybe you find yourself in a situation where, yes, you need to be your own bank. You need to be your own bank. Don't be a bank for somebody else either, because that time is coming too, as people are going to start knocking on your door and text messaging you and sliding in your DMs and, hey buddy, how you been? It's been a long time. That time's coming too, folks. But I think no matter what, the diversity, security, and cash flow is going to be huge, especially with questions being asked and answers being thrown around as far as, is my money safe in the bank? Should I take it out of the bank? Are credit unions a better choice? I heard credit unions are better. FDIC said that the banks are going to crash on a Friday. Credit unions use NCUA. Is that going to be better? But even if the dollar crashes and we move to the BRIC system and we move away from the dollar in general, the dollar is no longer the global standard currency. Should I buy gold? Should I buy silver? Well, at the end of the day, if you maintain the basic principles of diversity, security, and cash flow, no matter what happens, no matter what you see occurring, no matter what next big worldwide global crisis that they're planning on ends up being, if you have diversity, if you've got security, and if you've got cash flow, then you're already multiple steps ahead of the game. And then from there, we need to hit the ground running, because we'll find ourselves in a situation where we're going to have to actively and quickly go after low-hanging fruit. And then once that's been exhausted, which we know will be relatively quickly, we need to have already been planning on and moving towards capturing the high-hanging fruit. And if you guys want more information on that, like I said, feel free, drop a comment down below. Let me know. We can go into greater detail. but I want you guys to be prepared. I want you guys to be educated. I want you guys to be informed. And I want you guys, most importantly, to have the truth. So if you want the truth, then by all means, you come to the right place. You know where to find it. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you real soon.